Hello, my name is Mark Burkey, and I'm the author of Geographic Access and Demand in the Market for Alcohol, which appeared in Volume 40, Number 2 of the Review of Regional Studies. And in just a couple of minutes, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what this paper is about and why I think it was important. So, what I did in this paper is I was looking at the question of measuring accessibility to alcohol retailers and estimating an elasticity of how that affects sales. Let me bring up the paper here so you can just see what it looks like real quick. And this paper was partially funded by the National Institutes of Health in the United States. The main question that I wanted to investigate here, let me bring up a little slide from a presentation that I did at one point. The main point that I wanted to make in this paper is that theoretically, accessibility to getting to a product like liquor or any kind of thing, hospitals, is not a price really. And there are a lot of theoretical works and a lot of empirical works in the alcohol literature that try to argue that when something is less accessible, that is the same thing as increasing the price. But theoretically, as an economist, that's not true. What happens as you increase the price of a product is that you move up the demand curve and people buy less. So if the price is P and access is T, it costs you this much to get access to alcohol, then they model it as the price has gone up. What happens when the price goes up? Everyone buys less. I don't think that's true. I think that accessibility is a one-time cost. You pay the cost to get to the store, and once you're there, you can buy as much as you want, especially if you're driving or even if you're riding the bus. There's not a per unit charge. Accessibility doesn't affect the marginal cost of buying more units of the product. It's just a hurdle that needs to be overcome once. So the difference is, instead of raising the price so that you buy less, an access charge, there's a two-part tariff literature that talks about this. An access charge comes out of your consumer surplus for buying the product. So if the access charge gets high enough, say bigger than this orange triangle of consumer surplus, then you will not buy at all. So you purchase the amount where marginal cost equals marginal benefit, but you purchase if your consumer surplus is bigger than the transportation cost. Now, why is this important? Well, this is important because we have different types of drinkers. And this can be analogous in any other sort of market as well, but in the alcohol market particularly, you have light drinkers and heavy drinkers. Light drinkers will have lower amounts of consumer surplus than alcoholics will if their demand is lower, for example. If you reduce access through some kind of government policy, access to alcohol gets more expensive. What should you observe? Well, you should not observe everyone buying less as if it's an effect on the marginal cost, but you will observe some people stop buying. So when you observe that in a region transportation is more expensive or excess is more expensive to get to a certain product, you will observe fewer people buying, but it won't be like a price where everybody's buying less. You'll see some people drop out of the market or disconnect from the market. So I discussed this theory in this paper, and then also empirically, whether I used OLS or I also used some different kinds of spatial econometric models. I think I ended up settling on the spatial Durbin model. The punchline was that the elasticity, the transportation cost elasticity I estimated was somewhere on the order of 0.12, negative 0.12, which is a much smaller kind of elasticity than the consensus estimates for a price elasticity for alcohol, which are normally 10 times that large. The consensus price elasticities are about negative 1.5, My estimates were all somewhere between 0.12 to 0.15. And so theoretically and empirically, I was able to show that accessibility to alcohol, it doesn't behave like a price. It's an access cost, and we should both measure it and interpret it a little bit differently. So I hope that you're interested in reading more about my paper. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at burkeym@ncat.edu. Thank you very much.